What's going on, guys? It is Pete Nova from the Face Off Sports Network. Week one, it is upon us. We have Thursday night football, and that means we are going to start kicking off our weekly content to get you started winning some football games in fantasy this season. To kick off, we are going to go over our weekly defensive streamers. I'm going to provide three defenses that are under 50% ownership in sleeper fantasy leagues and as well as Yahoo across the board. When I look at defensive streamers, I'm usually one who doesn't have a main defense all year. I end up not picking one high in the draft, and if I do that, I'm pretty much playing the matchup game. And we had 60 plus quarterbacks last season start NFL games, and so that was good for people that stream defenses because backup quarterbacks starting NFL games, usually leads to a lot of turnovers, a lot of sacks, and a lot of points on the defensive side of the ball. And when I look at defensive streamers, and this is going to be a theme for the year as I go over these, I'm looking at two things. One, I look for home teams. So I generally want to target home teams. Now, some of these teams in these videos aren't going to be home teams, but I want one of the two. I want a team that's either home and a team that is projected in low total points per Vegas. I usually look at DraftKings and see which teams have the lowest totals for the week. And so we'll kind of just jump right into it. But if you can get two of those, that's even better. So let's jump into the first defense to stream. And it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New England Patriots. 45% ownership in leagues across the board. And pretty much this is the tied for the lowest projected total on the week. And that would be 40.5. And the team that also has a low point total like this would be the Raiders and the Chargers. And the Pats are projected to score 15.5 points. Now, to put some perspective, last season in 2023, the league average for points per game was 21.8. This is one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Jacoby Brissett appears to be the guy that's going to start this week. He's banged up a little bit. He got hurt in that last preseason game. And honestly, it might have been even if it was Drake May, I mean, Drake May is a little bit more elusive, but he is a rookie, so maybe he would have made more mistakes. But with Brissett back there, I think it provides an opportunity for more sacks. And this is a bad offensive line, like I said. And the Bengals, for what it's worth, not a great defense, but they are playing at home. And that is an advantage for sure. And Trey Hendrickson is still a really good edge player, and this offensive line is just really bad. So at 45% roster ownership, it's one of my favorite defenses to stream this week, given that I do think the Patriots, I think they're going to start off a little slow this year. And I think they might be one of the worst teams in the league and certainly one of the worst offensive lines in the league. So that's going to be my first defense to stream. Kicking into the second streamer, it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are 8% rostered across fantasy formats. There's only 4 games that are projected a higher point total than them. And the Steelers are projected to score just 19.5 points. Like I said, that's below the league average for last season. And Russell Wilson named the starting quarterback. It's not Justin Fields. Similar to the Patriots, it probably would have been a good defense to stream no matter which quarterback was named the starter for this week. But Russell Wilson averaged 3 sacks per game in 2023. And this is a Falcons defense that made some serious upgrades across the board. They added to their front 7. They just traded for Matt Judon. They have Justin Simmons now that they just brought in late in free agency. And that's going to be paired with Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell. And, outside of Pat Freiermuth and, George Pickens, there's not a lot of weapons in the receiving game. They'll probably try to run the football a lot more, but even Russ in preseason for the Steelers, I think he was sacked like 4 times in the games that he played, and that was only 2. So if you're in a league that provides good points for sacks and as well as not a lot of giving up a lot of passing yards and just low point totals in general, there might not be a lot of turnovers because Russ has been generally pretty good at not turning the football over, last year specifically. But it'll be low scoring, so you'll get those points for that, the sacks, and not a lot of passing yards given up. So that's going to be my second play of the week. And then my third and last play is going to be the Saints defense versus the Carolina Panthers. This defense, they are 30% rostered across formats. They're tied for the second lowest point total on the week. The Panthers are also projected to score 18.5 points, again, going below the league average last year. As you can see, the trend is picking defenses that are solid and at home against offenses that are probably below average. What I will say at least is the Carolina Panthers, could get better with Bryce Young and Canales. I trust him as a play caller, but it is a new system, right? Bryce Young is going into year 2. He's learning a new system, which could take some time. And he's going up against Dennis Allen's, who, for a guy that doesn't really know how to speak well at the podium, he knows how to call a good defense. And I think he'll be ready and prepared against a division rival at home. Bryce Young was sacked 3.8 times last season per game, and he was sacked over 60 times. So I think this is a nice spot and a nice play for the Saints defense, who is at home as well. And those are my 3 for the week. As I said in the beginning of the video, we're looking for teams that are at home, defenses that are home, and then low projected point totals. All 3 of these teams were low point totals as well as playing at home. So we got the benefit of all of those. And so I think those are 3 solid plays for the week. But that's going to do it for me. Appreciate you guys jumping in. And we're going to continue with more content this week. So stay tuned. We have our start sit show on Thursday or Friday this week. We have weekly waiver wires coming out today and tomorrow. And we got our Sunday show where we are going to go over some start sit questions as well, live before the 1:00 slate. So tune in, tap in, and let's go. Week 1 is coming. So thank you for listening.